بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. لله تبارك وتعالى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I pray that all of you are well. I pray that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is pouring down His countless blessings and mercies upon you. And I pray that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala grants all of us a tawfiq in all of our matters. Because it is important that Allah facilitates for us all acts of worship. Because if Allah does not facilitate us for us, we will not be successful, inshaAllah ta'ala. So we ask Allah for His divine intervention in our affairs by creating in us the ability to obey Him, which entails doing the obligations, refraining from the prohibitions as a foundational starting point, and then increasing in the optional deeds, in the supererogatory acts of obedience, till we please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and are accepted by Him. I wanted to do a brief preparation for us for tonight's Black Imams Roundtable that will be tonight at 7 o'clock. And tonight's Black Imams Roundtable will be an extended edition, so it may last like 3 hours. And the reason for this extended edition is that a question was put forth as a suggestion for a topic. And I think it was very, very important that we take time to address that. And that question was, seeking knowledge is obligatory. What does this mean practically for us? Man, that's a good question. We always talk about seeking knowledge. You have to learn your Quran, you have to learn the knowledge, you have to. But many of us, number one, really don't know what that is. They cannot formulate or envision that concept completely in their mind. Hence, they find it very difficult to practically implement that concept. So there are several layers to being able, before you're able to actually implement the concept. And even though over the many years we've been on this platform, we've taught so many books, but we still find that it is really not fully understood by the majority of us. We have an idea, but actually understanding and then being able to implement it is quite challenging. And it's reflective when we have question and answer time. It's reflected when we have question and answer time. When we actually join together and we look at our lives and our communities, it shows how much we're missing of fully understanding the concept. So our intention, and it's going to take a couple of weeks, and I hope that it leads to a change in the whole structure of the Black Imams Roundtable. One of the things that I'm concerned about myself, and I talked to the other Imams about this, that the Black Imams Roundtable, its initial objective was to teach our communities the knowledge of Islam by way of the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and that would become the standard in our communities. And as my sheikh always say, I'm sorry to say, it has not worked. I am sorry to say, I am totally sorry to say. Most of us don't understand. We got the general concept, but really understanding and implementing and taking it to another level, we're not even close. And I think that's because we've went too much to edutainment instead of education. We enjoy the round table, but there's not much learning connected to that enjoyment. It's more on the enjoyment side. And if you go back and you look at the previous roundtables, especially the early ones, and compare them to where we're reaching now, you're going to see, you'll notice that the content is not that much knowledge-based, right? It's not. Even the topics are not where the intent was. So we want to return, inshallah, back to where you come to the round table, and every time you come to the round table, you walk away increased in religious knowledge, right? You walk away increased in religious knowledge with the ultimate objective of actually becoming, right? Actually being a real Sunni Muslim that understands their deen. And I tell you why. I'm not being critical, even though I'm being critical. I'm not as critical as I would like to be, right? Honestly. I don't like the idea that we don't fully grasp what we need to do, because I'm thinking about tomorrow. And if I look, there's too much entertainment for us. Really too much. We just want to have fun. We just want to entertain ourselves. In the meanwhile, we're not producing the intended result of learned people. I'll give you an example of that. In 4 years, let's make an analogy. In 4 years, you can develop in the average Islamic university a student that can go somewhere and become an imam in 4 years. So the average Islamic university in 4 years puts out a student who is able to go back to their local community and teach. They're proficient in some subjects, maybe not scholars, but proficient. Now, if you put that on the scale of us teaching, you have to ask yourself, in each of our communities, in the 4 to 5 years of teaching books, how many teachers did we produce? Right? How many people that you comfortably say, go sit with this person and they'll learn the book? Go sit with that person and they will teach you the book and you don't even think about it. In other words, like our teachers did with us, they taught us, and then they would say, you go teach. And they didn't worry about us being able to do it. Go do it. You got it. We have to ask ourselves, have we really, really produced those type of people? And the answer is a definitive no. So we're doing something that we need to fix. We need to adjust. Someone asked me this yesterday. They was like, what about so-and-so? I don't mention who so-and-so was, right? I said, I wouldn't trust them to teach one book. In general, you want to learn about something. In general, yes. But go, here's a book, sit down and learn. Oh, absolutely not. That means somewhere we're failing. And maybe we don't like these words, but sometimes harsh words push us. Because the more we do that, we're getting older. We're going to actually pass away. And what's left? And I'm talking about in our communities. So what I want to do is push us slowly to really start mastering the things we're covering. Even in this general open sessions that are not like classroom settings, but if you constantly teaching, even in this format, after a while, people who understand well will be able to convey. They will be able to convey. And I'm not talking about in a general way, right? Because a lot of times we're just doing that in a general way. So for instance, I know how to pray, for an example. But if I was asked, tell me the rules of prayer, I may only answer about 1 or 2 rules. The rest, I don't know. So I say, you make ablution, for instance. Then I say, okay, what are the obligation of ablution? The average person that's in that circle may not answer that adequately. They may answer one, they may add things that are not obligations. You follow my point? This we want to fix. So if every roundtable we concentrated on making sure a section of the knowledge is covered well, right? Then you will find after time, 4 years later, in the future, if Allah give us that long, 4 years, you're going to have some people who can actually teach, who can actually convey in an accurate manner, right? In addition to those who are actually studying, because there are people like that, but they're studying in another way, which is going to take much longer. So tonight's roundtable is going to be the start of that. It's actually going to tell us or explain to us the obligation itself, its sources, the means to do it, and how to practically implement that, right? It's very important that we really, really push for us to do this. There was a sister, she told me about a thesis she was writing. Man, it was so powerful. I never saw it, but I never forgot it or the meaning of it. Her thesis was understanding the acceptance of underachievement in the African American community. The meaning is that understanding the acceptance of a culture of underachievement in the African American community. And when she told me that, I was saying to myself, that's deep, right? Do we have a culture of underachievement? Do we have a culture that says, I don't have to excel? I could just stay here and I'm good. My son's martial arts instructor told me something last night. We were talking, and he said, we as a people have to stop surviving and start learning how to live. I was like, deep. He said, we as a people, he's African American. He said, we have to stop surviving and learn how to live. So my thing is, if these concepts don't change, we're always going to be in the position of servitude to others. Because other communities are moving while we collectively, I'm not talking about certain segments of us, collectively are staying in a position that is behind the time. And I'm giving you context for what I'm saying. So we have to push ourselves. We have to push ourselves. When I look at us in learning, I say, listen, if we learn this deen properly, and we need access, we haven't been granted access, but we have the ability now to actually do it. We must do it though, right? We have the ability. We don't have the same excuses we had 50 years ago or even 20 years ago. We don't have the same excuses. Access is available. You have to take advantage of it. In our communities, education has to become serious. And I'm not talking about only religious education. I'm talking about secular education too. There are talented people among us who must be responsible and accountable with their talents towards the rest of us, right? So these skill sets that we have, we must share them in order to uplift us as a collective group. It's very important. And these kind of conversations are important because we're talking about tomorrow. And Malcolm X talked about us sleeping in the 60s. It's 2024, we still sleep. We have to wake up. We're still sleeping. You might not be in a coma, but you still sleep. You gotta wake up. Really, we have to wake up. So the responsibility is on those who have knowledge. We have knowledge, man. We have knowledge. It's available. We have knowledge. That's not our problem anymore, the lack of access. Now is the lack of implementation and diligence in conveying and receiving and preserving. That's what we have to work on. We have to improve our aspirations. So that's going to be, you're going to really enjoy these next, inshallah ta'ala, these upcoming roundtables. I really want to go in, but I'm saving it to the roundtable. Let's think about tomorrow. Serious. I get many of us who complain about our state, but don't do anything about it, right? Let's do something. And the first step to that is understanding. They say understanding and comprehending only comes, let me reverse that. Being able to implement a rule only really comes after you understand it and formulate it in your mind. You're not going to get to a result until you understand where you're going, right? So for us, let's try to understand this concept of learning, what it really looks like. And it's a challenge, trust me. I think sometimes we understand that's going to require something of us, and we're so in survival mode, we don't want to put that extra energy, right? But we got to change that. So seeking knowledge, we're going to go in detail about that. And inshallah, from here on out, every round table will be an increase in knowledge from the previous one. So it needs to be like charting the course. So we should know at a certain point where we're at. Inshallah ta'ala, that is something that I pray you all engage in because we're here, right? And we did a lot. I don't undermine what we did. I don't. We did a lot. We're still doing a lot, but it's nowhere where we should be. And we have to push ourselves, right? No more l- lagging behind when we have the ability to be in front. Can I tell you a story? I have a lot of stuff. Let me share with you. These are my scattered thoughts. So I'm not, but in my scattered thoughts are benefits. A lot. Because what I think about, if you're paying attention, I'm always thinking about how we can get better. That's always on my mind, right? It's always on my mind. Raising the bar, raising the bar, raising the bar. And even if I can't pull myself up, I want to get behind someone and lift them up so you could do the pull-ups. You ever see do pull-ups and you can't do them all, but you get somebody to spot you and help you get them up till you build your muscles, then you could do it yourself. Maybe we do that religiously. We build ourselves up. I was talking to a person, and he was telling me about a young brother. He said he told this young brother who had kids, he said, you need to take your kids to such and such a place in this madrasa so your kid can become a scholar. And I looked at him. I said, why would you tell him that? He looked at me. I said, why don't you tell him to build right where he's at and utilize the learned people he got right in front of him? Why would you tell him to go somewhere else? Right in front of him are teachers who learn books. Why don't you encourage him to be diligent and learn from the people right in front of him? I said, you know what you just said to me, and you don't realize it? I'll tell you how I took what you just said. He said, what do you mean, Imam? I said, I'm going to tell you. What you just said is go sell your kids into slavery so we can teach them how to think like us. He looked at me like, whoa. I said, yeah, that's just what you told him. Because when that person takes his kids to where you said they're going to go, they're going to lose their culture. They're going to lose their concept. And they're going to come right back to the same place where people don't understand them, when they could have learned whatever they needed to learn right there and build directly in their community and have an impact. You're going to send them away to be indoctrinated, to come back and be looked at as you a sellout. You went and became someone else. I said, because it's not knowledge. The same knowledge that you're talking about is right available in their neighborhoods, right available in their local community. Why don't you help them build that? And he looked at me. He was like, I never thought of it like that, but you're correct. He said, I never thought of it like that. I said, but you do it every day. You watch. And think about it. We've done that. And what has it really produced? How many years we've been going somewhere else to learn from somebody else? Be honest with yourself, right? At least 40 years of that. What really has it produced? So we took resources out our community, we took talent out our community, we did all of that, and we come back and our communities are still the same. And in some cases, worse. What has it done for us? I'm talking about in totality. That's what we got to start thinking about. Don't look at individuals. Individuals will always benefit, right? Some of us will benefit if Trump become the president. I don't know how that would work for all of us, but some of us going to benefit. Some of us going to become wealthy if he become the president, right? Somebody's always going to have an edge. I'm talking about the collective. What will be the status of the collective? So someone has always benefited from these things, but collectively as a community, how much have we benefited? Right? And we must, and when I look at it, if I look back in the past, I see some great things that we had that need to be reinstituted. Then I see some things that we have now that can enhance what we had in the future, in the past, for the future. But I know none of that, I'm 100% sure, none of that's going to work if we don't learn our deen properly. None of that's going to work. If we don't learn our religion properly, none of that's going to work. But we have to know what learning our deen properly is. So that will be the focus. All right, I've ran it long enough because this was just to make you aware of what we're going to do tonight. But bring your pens and papers too. Bring your pen and paper to the round table. It's not just going to be enjoyment. You're going to actually learn something, right? You're going to actually learn something. And I pray that we start taking this, because this is a movement if you don't realize it. This is a movement. And we're doing something that's going to be historical. Right now, you don't see it. Nobody sees it when they're doing it. That's a problem. But most people who are doing history-making endeavors or events or movements, when they're actually in it, they don't see it. It would probably be more productive if they saw it like that. And that's what we're trying to focus our mind. We're doing something that's going to be in the history books, that future generations going to look back and say, wow, look what they did, and benefit from it. So now we have to see, we have to like get in our time capsule and go forward and put us looking back. What do we want to see? And now that we're in that space, we do it, right? Someone asked me about books. Why you have all these books? I said, I'm probably never going to read most of them. But whoever come after me, that's not going to be their problem, right? And if I do my job, they're going to know how to navigate those books, right? With my lifespan, I'm probably not going to be able to even study all of those books. But whoever comes after me, that's not going to be their concern. Access to knowledge is not going to be their concern. And if I do my job well enough, they're going to know how to navigate those books. And that's what we're going to teach you here. We're going to teach you, inshallah ta'ala, how to navigate. We're going to give you a roadmap of how to move in the deen, how to learn your religion. And believe me, that's a struggle in itself, because there's forces to change the religion so you never learn it. There are forces that are available to us more than that are trying to change the deen, more than the forces that are trying to maintain the deen are available. So the forces that are trying to change the deen are more available, more accessible than the forces that are trying to maintain our tradition and maintain. So a lot of us are getting an altered understanding of the deen and we don't even know it because of the lack of access to true knowledge. I'll give you something. You know, let's see how y'all listening. The other day, I was talking to the young brother. I brought him on the screen. He came on. He asked some questions, and I told him, and you were there, some of you. Let's see how many of you were paying attention. I told him what I've been doing recently and over a while, months. And I've been spending an average about 4 hours a day doing it and studying. Do any remember what I told him I was studying? So y'all, some of y'all were here. I said, I've been doing this lately, and I've been averaging about 4 hours or more a day doing it. Personal study. Who remembers? Come on, don't let me down. This will make a whole nother hour. I didn't say that. Not yet. Close, but no. Come on. No answer correct yet. Yes, one is right. Reading the books of the Hambali school and studying with people, doing both. So we don't just read books. That doesn't work. You need books and living teachers. You need both. And I've been doing both. Why did I say I'm doing that? There's a reason. I'm Shafi'i, so why would I be doing that? I mentioned it because I'm Shafi'i. Why am I doing that? For what reason? Years and years of studying Shafi'i. Why would I be doing that? I mentioned it. Let's see if we were paying attention. Why? That's close, Haja Stacy. So I'll put it up. Because in our communities, there's been a switch to the Hambali school because we've identified the Wahhabi school. And some of those Wahhabis, they ran into the Hambali school and they'll say, no, we're Hambalis. But when you really, really study what they're talking about, these are Wahhabis masquerading as Hambalis or Athari, right? So now we've made clear Salafi and Wahhabi is the same. That's known. Everyone knows that. It's very hard to fool someone. You know, they say, can you fool a Muslim nowadays? Right? Everyone knows that. We've been so vocal about that. When you say Salafi, even the regular person says Wahhabi. And they kind of know what that means. So they had this other trick, Athari, Hambali. I'm Athari, I'm Hambali. And that's like a new thing to us. So we ain't noticed that. But then when you study meanings, you're like, wait a minute, yo, Wahhabi, you just changed your name. But in order to identify that, you have to actually know What is the Hambali school? What does it look like? What are its texts? Who are its scholars? What are the discussions? How do they address? You got to learn all that stuff to identify when you have a virus in your Hambali school. And I told one of my Hambali brothers, I said, you have to start teaching, man. Because I'm looking at the problem from our side of it. That's going to prolong misguidance in our community if we don't straighten it. So we have to actually learn, right? We have to. We don't have a choice. Or the result of not learning is subjugation, servitude, and religious slavery. That's the result. Subjugation, servitude, and religious slavery. That's the result. You don't study, you don't learn, you can't identify, someone else going to run a game on you. That's it. So we don't have a choice if we're serious. We can't afford to be deluded and misguided for another 40 years. And even if we're personally not capable of acquiring all that we need to set the platform up so that someone can do it. It's very important. So in doing that, I discovered a lot. And one of the things I discovered is that even in their misguidance in issues of creed and issues of practice, they themselves did their best to preserve the original. And there's a movement among them to preserve the original. Even though they themselves have their own ideas, they realize that we have to preserve the original. And the learned among them will clearly distinguish between our stuff and the original, which is, to me, was deep. It was a lesson in itself. Like, wow, what's going on here? Because they understand the importance of learning. They understand the importance of learning. And a real seeker of knowledge can differ in an opinion while preserving the integrity of knowledge and not altering the opinion. In other words, this is what you said. I disagree with what you said, but I'm not going to take my disagreement and change what you said. I'm going to state what you said and state my disagreement with it and leave the matter as it is and let minds have the ability to distinguish between the two. That's important. But that wasn't done for us. They did it for themselves, well preserved. But for us, here's the pamphlets, here's the shiny books, here's your stuff, and that's all you need to know. And I'll do the rest of the thinking for you. And that was a collective plot on our communities. and it worked. So we have our elders that started that stuff, and I know them, still suffering it from today, and they in their 70s. And some of them started in their 20s, and today they still suffer from it. Now, when we think collectively, that's dangerous. You started in your 20s, huh? And here you are in the 70s, still trying to figure it out. Still really don't know your dean well. After 50 years of intense studying, you were studying for 50 years and teaching. That means a game was played on us, because it shouldn't be that way. Basic stuff you should know, but they didn't tell you. They programmed you. You think about it. You look at other societies, Islamically, they have sheikhs that are elders and respected for their knowledge and are the leaders in their communities, right? You will find they're old men with gray beards, and they're like respected authorities, the great scholar, you know, al-allama. Where's that in our communities? After 50 years, we should have that too, right? Think about it. 50 years, we should sit at the feet of our elders and not just say you're an old head, but you're a scholarly, learned person. And I need to sit and read books and learn with you. We don't have that. That's not the norm. But in every other society where Islam has taken root and it's been there, that's the norm. Africa, you have elders. The Middle East, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, these elders, scholars in their own right. We need to fix that. But we got to know how. So that's the importance of the knowledge part, right? And I want to have that discussion. I'm telling you, I would love to sit and have that discussion with anybody, like a sincere discussion about this issue, because we all impacted by it, no matter who it is. Even the person who is Wahhabi, right? They suffer from it too. Black people. They're not like, well, not us. Yeah, you too. We all have suffered. That's something we have in common. Whether you Wahhabi, Salafi, following the madhab, Sufi, I don't care what you are. You black, you got the same problem. The same thing is there. Doesn't matter. We've all suffered it. And that should be a unifying thing, that let's lift this state from us collectively. That's a unifier right there. Because if you learn, you're going to see we all got hit. Don't matter. We all got hit. So for us, that in itself should be a unifying force. Do y'all understand this concept? Like, seriously, it's very important. For me, when I look at it, I get fire in my stomach. I really, really get agitated. And they be running the same play on us. We ain't caught it yet. I remember I used to play pee-wee football as a kid, right? And we used to run this like same old play, right? Where the quarterback would take the ball, fake to the running back who would run, and then a wide receiver would come and it's like hold the ball like a Statue of Liberty, and the wide receiver come around and take the ball and go the other way, right? They would run this play, right? And it would work. The same play. So I happened to be the quarterback. It's pee-wee football, right? And one kid, his father became a coach. So he wanted his son to be the quarterback. So, in Little League football, you play both sides of you play offense and defense, right? So I was like safety and quarterback. So I didn't have, my father wasn't there. So I got jacked for the position, right? But I played offense too, so I could have played in the backfield. I'm like, no, I want to play defense. I'm safety. I know the plays. I know what you're going to do. So I'm deep safety. I pull all the way up as I'm listening to the count, all the way up. And soon as they call the play, I jumped through the line and I tried to break that quarterback's arm, right? And the father guy, I never forget this, is one of those traumatizing things as a kid, right? So the first time I did it, they thought I got through, right? He got through, block, block. I know the play. I know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. Every time you run that play, I'm going to tear you up. I'm little, right? But I was bitter little guy. So after about 3 wrecking the quarterback, his father caught on that I was sabotaging because I knew the plays. And I remember he grabbed me by my little pants and turned me upside down. Put me on the bench. You got to stay out. But they couldn't run the same play, not with me on the defense, right? I'm mentioning that to tell us they've been running the same plays on us for decades. Aren't we going to get it? This is the same play. It's a religious play. It's the same thing. Watch. You can almost calculate what's going to happen. Why don't we just break their arm? Right? We catch the play. We know what's happening. So the same play's been ran on us by people who really don't even have the intelligence level that we have. That's really sad. The one who's running the play on you is not as smart as you. But he's taught you to suspend your intellect. Let him use your mind. You don't do that. Let him read for you. Don't you read. If you changed all that, you would discover your power and really the weakness of the one who's been running that game on you. If you just change that concept. No, I'm not suspending my intellect, and I'm actually going to use my mind, and I'm actually going to read. You'll discover that, wait a minute, this is easy stuff you've been running on me. So that's what we're talking about in terms of the knowledge. And I went in my scattered thoughts all over the place with it, like I normally do. But trust me, before I die, and I hope before we die, we've already done it. It's just not the level that I would like to see. We, bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah, going to change this game. We have the ability. I don't know how big that impact is, but they're going to change the play. They're going to keep running that same play. Nah, not going to work. And hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be at another level so that the next generation won't have this kind of conversation. We're going to have it because we still sleep. But the next generation or the generation after that will be sound. And I need your help with that. I'm rethinking this whole thing seriously. And at the summit, or at the conference rather, we're going to really dig deep. So someone asked me about this too. Let me take a couple questions real quick while I do two things. Let me do a couple things real quick. 1 second. I have some ambitious plans, very ambitious. I believe in us. I know we can do it. Right? Let me just set this up real quick. Give me a second. We are an amazing people. And I believe a special people. We just have to get our act together. Okay, what's happening here? All right, I got this almost already set up. All right. All right. So at this Islamic Unity Conference, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. For all of you who are coming, please don't come here to sleep or vacation. Come to build. For all of you who are coming, please do not come to sleep and vacation. Come to build. And reason why I say that, because we may not get this opportunity again. And we really have to have real strategic dialogue, planning, so we can prepare for the future. And the future should start immediately after the conference. So that takes us to actually be focused. It's going to be time to enjoy yourself. I mean, that's a must. You got to have some entertainment for us. We got that. But it has to be more than that. So we need to really chart out a strategic plan that we buy into, that we actively work to accomplish. And it's available, but it has to be in stages. The first stage is coming together and finding like-minded people, right? We have to find among us those who are serious. And we all know when someone's just going along just to be going along and someone who's dead serious. You know the difference. It's obvious, right? And I think that's going to take a lot of interaction. So even with all of the speakers, there got to be a level of engagement. It's not like you sit up there, big guy, and no. We need to be interacting with one another on a grassroots level, really understanding what we're working with and building from there. So you're not going to get a lot of sleep if you're serious, because there are going to be a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, a lot of everyday building for the next day. So I'm also probably tomorrow, and I need to start doing that, I'm going to lay out the conference over the next couple of days, if Allah give me tawfiq. And when I say if Allah give me tawfiq, because sometimes my nights be so long that it's very difficult for my mornings. So sometimes I don't make it. But throughout the day, inshallah, I will take some time of the day. So I may come on maybe 2 times during the day, all the way up, inshallah, to the conference. So I may be coming on like at least 2 times a day, and laying it out, because I really want this to be and it don't take a lot. If we get 10 people who serious, 10 people, we could do miracles. 10 people, that's it. It don't take a lot. 10 serious people, you could do miracles. Things that go against the norm, that's what I mean by miracles. They could be in our relation like karamat, right? Not mujizat, like karamat for us. You get 10 serious people. My teacher used to say, be one like 1,000. Be one like 1,000. And if each of us felt like that, like I say to myself, not in the sense of arrogance, that's just how I feel. I'm worth 3 or 4 people. With my own work and my own effort, I'm worth 3 people. I ain't saying 1,000, but me, myself, I'm worth 3 people. I'll do the work of 3 people, trust me. And you could really add more, but I don't want to exaggerate. I will do the work of 3 people, especially 3 lazy people. I'll do the work of 3 people. So if that's me, that's 4. And we get 10 people like me, that's 40. That's 40 people. In 10 people. In 10 people, you actually got 40 people. Right? That's 40 people. So if you're doing the work of 40 people, that means you have everything you need to start everything you need. You got 40 people. You could do anything you want. That's an organization. 40 people, 40 workers. You know what you could do with that? So you're saying if it's 10 people like that, that's all you need is 10. And what if you got more people like that? So at a conference that may have hundreds of people, Allah knows best, right? But there may be hundreds from past examples. We have hundreds of people that come from all over the country, sometimes outside the country. Just be serious. Right? So here, that's what we're looking. But we're talking about national work. So imagine you benefit. You got the imams. If out of the conference, we develop 7 more people like Imam Fahim, Imam Naeem, and myself, we got 7 more added to it from the conference. What does that look like for us in terms of education? Right? Think about it. So you see Imam Fahim, Imam Naeem, Imam Amin, we work together. You see what we've done. And I know what we've done. With y'all together, we've done a lot, right? Imagine the conference, we added 7 more people like that. 7 more imams, teachers, sheikha, ustada, that was serious, committed like us 3 work together. Now what we do? What does that look like now? Think about it. Because you benefit from us regularly. All of you, you were here. Now what if we added 7 more like that from the conference? Because we had real talks and we saw real need and you were really diligent and working. Now what does that look like? Because we work together, we stick together, we don't separate. Us 3 imams, we work together. We support one another, we help one another, travel together, we check on one another. It's not always easy, but we do it. We share each other's stuff. We support one another. And we've been doing it for years. And some of you have actually been on the ground with us. And you see how we relate. Some of you, we've been to your towns, we've been to your cities, we've put programs together. But that stuff needs to be continued and multiplied. And as a community, we develop that, you come up with something great. Inshallah ta'ala. But the root of all of that, the foundation of all that, is the knowledge. So we have to get that part together. So please, we're in the last, actually, I'm going to have to ask them to extend. What's today's date? I don't even know what day it is. Today was the last day. I'm going to ask them to extend it at least to the beginning of July. The registration deadline, I'm going to ask them to, I don't deal with that part, but I'm going to see if I can get it extended. So inshallah, we're going to try to get it pushed. I don't know what needs to be done to do that, but I'm going to ask today to see if we can get it pushed to at least the first week of July to give us a chance, because we need to increase our numbers. Because I want all of the speakers, because there's experience. I want all of them to really engage us, like no superficial stuff, real engagement. I mean, just look at the flyer, and we got way more than that. Look at that flyer. That is 50, 100, 150, 200, 225, 250, 275, 300. Just right there, if I was generous, you got 300 years of community leading, teaching, education, grassroots work in those speakers. 300 years of experience. Just without counting no one else. Just those right there. And we got way more than that. Just those right there on the flyer. We can't benefit from that and make a change. It's 300 years of experience in community work and community building. That's a lot. What is that worth? To get that in one room, one time? So inshallah, may Allah give us tawfiq. Uh, I think you can still register today because today's the last day that's on it, even without the extension. So just in case some technical things I don't know about, uh, try to register. For those who can register today, register. All right. And I'll take a few questions quickly. Uh, if I miss your question, please put it back. I think this is a problem. Do you have people from each of your communities in these classes constantly men? I don't see any. Uh, I think that's a challenge with Black men. And I think it lies between two things: pride and shyness. And those two people don't learn. As the scholar said, two do not learn: the proud and the shy. The prideful person won't learn because they don't want anyone to know that they don't know. So they avoid sessions where that may be manifest. That's a big thing. So you find people who really don't know. Um, but they have status in their mind that I'm somebody. So they don't want to be in a situation where it will be revealed that you really don't know. That's pride. The solution to that issue um, to be around people who know more than you, so you never had that problem, right? If you're around people who know more than you, and it's known they know more than you, and that's your habit, then you never feel like a sense of like, I don't want you to, I know I don't know. I hang around this one, right? You're seen in the environment where it's clear, right? You don't know. These are the people of knowledge. But you benefit, so that'll help you. Be around people who know more than you. If you think you're rich, be around people who got more money than you. That'll humble you quick, right? Whenever you think you have arrived, be around people who are better than you in that what you think you arrived in. That will humble you real quick, right? So it's easy for us to say we don't know nothing because we've been around learned people, highly learned people. We know we don't know anything, right? We may just know more than you. That don't mean we know anything, right? Compared to what is available, there are some giants walking. Every day you read, you start to discover how much you don't know. Like, wow, I never even looked at, never even thought of looking at it that way. Yeah, your mind ain't that deep, right? So that's one way. And the shy one, They're too afraid to ask, right? So you have to you have to get rid of those characteristics. Um, so the men need to work on that. That is a problem among men. That's some man stuff. We need to work on that. And some of us are in struggle mode. So, we so busy trying to earn a living that we don't make time to learn. Learning takes humbleness. You have to sit and read and study and be corrected and be checked and be challenged and be pushed. That takes humbleness to do that. It's not easy. So if your definition of man is nobody tell me what to do, you ain't gonna make a good student. Let me repeat that. If you in the position and nobody tell me what to do, you'll never make a good student. You got too much pride for that, you'll never make a good student. Forget about it. Not gonna happen. You have to be able to take instructions, right? You have to be able to admit you wrong and you don't understand. You'll never be a student of knowledge if you can't do that. It will never happen. The great scholars had to do that. What about you? Real scholars had to do that. So that's my thoughts of that. I may be right, I may be wrong, but from experience. Are those attending classes intending to go teach? I would suspect that most of us are just wanting to learn to fix ourselves. That's true too, but even while you learn to fix yourself, you can't forget everybody else. So even if you only teach your own family, right, you have that obligation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum. O you who believe, save yourselves and your families, right? So you at least have to teach your family. So even if you're not going to teach general like a sheikh you still got to teach your neighbors, your family, those who are under your charge. So you still have to know, right? You still have to teach to somebody. You have to convey. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ballighu anni walau ayah." Convey from me even is one thing. You have to convey, right? You know what my teacher told me? I never forget this. He said, because I would bring him to teach the sheikh. And he said to me one day, he said, listen, I have a lot of work in Damascus. I have a lot of work. Don't bring me here to do something you can do. I never forgot that. He said that to me. He said, I have a lot of work, a lot of things to do in Damascus. I'm producing scholars. I have to teach a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities. Do not bring me all the way to America to do what you can do. If that is something you cannot do, then bring me. I respect it, highly respect it. But if it's something you can do, don't bring me. Just to have me. You can do that. And train your people to learn what you can do and what you can't do and take it from you. Do you follow my point? So all of us have a role to play. No teacher can do everything. No one. They need helpers. The Prophet ﷺ had his Sahaba, right? They helped, they taught, they conveyed, they helped his mission. He didn't do it all by himself. So everyone has a role. So even if you're fixing yourself, you still got to help others, right? That's a responsibility. You can't, so saying you still have to learn, even if you're going to fix yourself. How are you going to fix yourself if you can't teach yourself? You have to review. You have to do all of that. Inshallah. Do you know who the other speakers are they will attend? Oh, there's many of them. Sheikh Abdul Karim Yahya, Imam Naeem, Imam Fahim, Imam Rasul Saluki, Imam Mujahid Abdul Salam, Imam Wahyuddin Sharif, Sheikh Abu Muslima, Imam Sulaiman Hamid, his wife Ustada Shahida, Ustada Nuruddin Knight, uh, the dope Muslim woman Sabria Mills, uh, and more. There's a lot of people coming. Not all of them are speakers, but you always get imams and people who come. So you're going to be in a room full of people, uh, and people I don't even know. And we have some surprise that I can't mention. You have to be there or be square. There are others too. MashaAllah. Do we need books? No, you don't need no books. Today is the official last day. So if you can uh, get your ticket, I would do it now. If not, I'm trying to get an extension, uh, inshallah. But I'll know that tomorrow. I won't know. I mean, I'll ask about it today. Can you pay at the door? That's going to be a problem. If that's the only solution, we're trying to work that out. But it's going to be uh, more complicated. And we have to find out how that's going to work. Because, I know some of us like to come. I'm just coming for 10 minutes. Sorry, 10 minutes is the same price as 4 days. So, right. So at the door, don't expect that it's going to be any cheaper because it won't be. Uh, but I'm assuming that's going to happen. I don't know the details of that. All that's organizing things, and I'm not really. Oh, I just got a message. The door will be $50 per day. So if you pay at the door, it's going to be $50 per day. I'm sorry, I just got a message about that. So $50 per day at the door. So they just sent me a message. At least somebody's listening. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Notebooks, of course. That's it. Okay, inshallah. So we'll see y'all tonight. The Black Imams Roundtable at 7 p.m. Uh, so it's going to be a doozy tonight. It's going to be a 3-hour roundtable tonight. 3 hours. So tonight, hold on. So share it, share it, share it. Tonight at 3. So also, the registration date can be extended. So uh, inshallah. But this is going to be an important roundtable. I think one of the most important ones, in my estimation, that we've done in a long time, because we need to learn how to learn. So you're going to need pen and paper tonight. There's going to be a lot of notes, a lot of, and I need you to put it together in a format. Going to be a lot of notes tonight, a lot of notes to take, because we're going to, inshallah, supply information that's generational, that we need for generations to come, right? It's going to be nice, inshallah. And this is just the first part of it, because I figure what we're going to do is going to take a minimum of 4 parts, but probably 6 parts. So for the next 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, we're gonna dig deep, and it's like we're gonna lay out a map by which you can acquire your deen, and it like that. Something I like to do, inshallah. Now we just got to do it. Once we know how to do, what to do, now we got to do it, and that's going to take a lifetime. But at least we know what to do, and we can start. I'll give you a hint. When I was studying overseas, and every time I would go back to study, because all the time I didn't study straight. Study for a period, come back home, then go back for a period, study like that. But what made it easy for me, I'm speaking personally, is that I never went overseas without an objective. I wasn't sightseeing. I knew exactly what I was doing and where I was going and who I was going to see and what I was going to cover while I was doing it, right? What books, what teachers, what science, like that. I knew exactly what I was doing. So you had people who went for longer periods of time but received less because they didn't have that preparation, right? So sometimes they may spend 2 years trying to find a teacher. From day one, as soon as I got off the plane, I was ready, right? I had a teacher, I had what I'm learning, it was already laid out. That's the setup we want in our communities. That you're already prepared before you even start the journey, right? I know many people right now overseas wasting time because they don't have that. They didn't take advantage of what they had here. They just, the other man's ice is colder and they still ain't got it to this day. And when they finish, if they keep it up like that, they're going to come back and still don't have it. If they keep that stuff up, sightseeing and nonsense, you have to be focused. And I would like it that we set up to where when people come back from overseas, they have to step the bar because we already did work on the ground. You can't come over here with any old thing. We ready. We already know the curriculum. We know everything. Even if now you got to actually come teach it. We know what you're supposed to know. And we're going to check you. Did you learn this? Did you? If you wailing, please go sit down. Matter of fact, you need to sit in the class. Right? We want that kind of environment. Do y'all follow my point? And it's available. Lay it out. Now there's an expected level that we want. Even if we're not there right now, we know the level, right? We know the level. We know the expectation, and it's normal in our communities. That hasn't happened yet. We want to develop that, right? And everything we study, we need to learn this. We need this. All that's laid out. So I hope to see y'all tonight. Share it, spread it. Please register. We want as many of you at this conference so we can connect. Because we're going to have real face-to-face talk, right? It's not the same when we just online. Face-to-face, heart-to-heart, you get to see what we're doing on the ground. And I'm preparing myself mentally to carry the banner till we can pass it to somebody else. At least for us. I'm preparing myself mentally to carry the banner for us until I can pass it to somebody else whose vision is much broader than mine, right? But in the meanwhile, I'm prepared to carry that banner. But if we do our work, I don't have to carry it for long because we done built somebody to pass it off immediately, right? Because we're getting old. We shouldn't be carrying banners right now. And it should have been done. But mashallah, who can, right? But let's collectively do the work so we can pass that banner. And we can be alive to help tutor and train the next generation of our leaders, right? We have a lot of work to do. Don't be afraid. I told you, we only need 10 people, 10 serious people, 10 people who work like 4 people. That's all you need. If you get more than that, that's nice, but all you need is 10 serious people. That's why we be telling sometimes junior stories and cell stories from the cell, because we used to do stuff like this, and seeing we get to be Muslim, we got stupid. We used to do this stuff in dunya. You got a little crew, y'all taking over blocks. If y'all was really like that, that's what y'all was doing. Running stuff, running organizations, doing y'all stuff for wrong stuff. And now you come to Islam and lost your brain. You had all that knowledge, doing all that unlawful stuff. And you were successful. Y'all was chilling, riding Benzes and houses all over the place, and cribs and businesses, and maintaining different men and women and doing all that stuff. And now you got to Islam and plop, nothing. What's up? You was doing all that stuff. Do you know what you was doing? You know how much stuff you got to do just to be a criminal? How much planning it takes to be a criminal? And you did all that stuff. You can't do that for the deen? May Allah help us. May Allah help us. All right, Barakallahu bikum. I see y'all tonight at 7 o'clock. Get your coffee, your notebook, your pen. It's going to be one for the record books, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.